Welcome everybody to Catfish Weekly, presented by Whiskerware Apparel. Tonight I have an announcement to make before we get to our show. October the 19th, 2015 on Catfish Weekly, we're going to be talking about the Monsters of the Mississippi tournament with George Young Jr. and none other than Bill Dance, so make sure you all tune in. It'll be a great show. We're really looking forward to have George and Bill on the show with us, and we'll find out all the specifics about that show and how everybody's going to approach entries and how many entries they got and all the stuff. So it ought to be a great show, and everybody should enjoy it. How's it going tonight, Chuck?
Great. Took a weekend off. Just did a little preparation for my little trip to Owensboro next week. And just did a lot of relaxing, getting ready for the work week this week, and then we'll tear it down for a week and head up north and have fun with my friends.
We're looking forward to it. It'll be a great time. Tonight on Catfish Weekly, we have some of the guys that do what most of us dream about, and that's catching a near 100-pound fish in a tournament. Welcome to the show, Derek Allen Anthony Jacoby.
Hi.
Thank you guys for joining us on the show tonight. We appreciate it. That was a monster fish you all caught the other weekend up there in Kansas City Catfish tournament. Very proud to have you on there, and I understand that you guys are very new to the catfishing sport, as some of the later guests that we've been having are younger guys, and it's very nice to see you guys jump into catfishing and do so well early off.
Yeah, that definitely keeps us out of trouble that way.
It sure does. Well, listen, I know Chuck's got some stuff to talk to you about, so Chuck, here you go.
All right, guys, congratulations on the nice catch. Tell us about the stress y'all were under when y'all were getting it in the net and getting in the boat.
Oh, I don't know as much stress as more as excitement. I mean, we obviously knew we had a pretty good one on. I don't know. He threw his line out or whatnot. I was 5 minutes later. It was just getting taps and taps and taps, and we just figured it was a gar. We was actually getting ready to reel up and leave because we figured we was messing with what we didn't want to catch. And about that time, his rod went towards the water and drag was coming out, so we just untied the boat and let him pull us around for a while.
We knew it was good when the rod went down. I mean, we kind of know when we got a good fish, and there's no sense in chancing it. Really, we like to untie and go with them. There, a lot of times we fish heavy current where you can't pull them to you. So he knew what to do. I looked down and line was coming out just as quick as I could cast it, and he already had the boat untied and was reeling up as we was drifting. So it worked out great.
Good, good. So y'all got y'all's routine down. Everybody knows what the other one's doing all the time. Yeah, that's what makes a good team. And when y'all caught the fish, did y'all let the guys at the weigh-in know ahead of time that something good was coming in, or was y'all just showed up unannounced and weighed her in?
We showed up to the weigh-in unannounced. Some friends of ours had caught a 70-pound fish earlier that day and posted a picture on Facebook, and Mike Porter was the one that caught it, and I posted a picture of it to his picture of his fish and told him, actually what I said was, we'll call your 70-pound fish and raise you an 80, because we didn't think our fish was over 90 at the time. But we showed up unannounced to the weigh-in. They didn't know we was bringing it in. We called our sponsors, Andy and Tony, and told them we was coming in with a good one, and asked them if anything else big had been weighed in other than the 70-pounder.
They were at the weigh-in?
Yeah, they was there selling bait all day. So.
Oh, awesome! So that was a big deal. Them big old fish, they're very hard to keep a hold of. I know that. I caught an 85 and took a couple of pictures with it standing up, and they're very hard. You got the weight, and they're very awkward. They're slick. Very hard to hold, especially when you're trying to get the whole fish in the picture, because you want a great picture with them. because you never know if that's going to be the last time you're ever going to get your picture taken with one of that quality. And they're fighting against you, and you're fighting against them, and you're trying to get the camera to snap at the right time. And I seen some pictures of Anthony holding it at weigh-in, and that I noticed a couple of guys were standing there waiting to see if he was going to have trouble because they're so hard to handle.
Oh, we definitely had trouble. Whenever it was all time for the final and the announcement and stuff, and Brad looked at me and said, "Let's go get it and take some pictures." I shook my head and I told him, "I don't want to pick this thing up. He's been resting all day."
Yeah, we wound up having to get a carrier to get him out of the tank to go up and take pictures, and then once we got him picked up, he didn't want to be picked up, so he wasn't picked up any longer. A fish of that size, if he wants to move, he's gonna move, and ain't no holding him back.
Right, they're all muscles. Y'all laid the waist sling down inside the live well and transported him over to the waist sling and then hoisted him out with the waist sling.
Yeah, that's how we got him out of our live well. We just put him in our dip net, and we took him up to Brad's tank, and he was in Brad's big tank that he keeps all his big ones in for all the people to weigh in to see. Okay. And that was when we had to get the sling to get him out of there.
Okay. Yeah, those waist slings, they're very nice to have. They're very good on the fish. The only thing you got to make sure you wet them really good before you put the fish in them. But besides that, man, they're awesome, and they really help out when you're handling these fish in the boat. You don't want it in the picture, of course, so you'll have a few, a minute or so trying to hold them. Mine wasn't during a tournament. I caught an 85-pounder on Wheeler Lake, and it was getting right at dark. And I mean, you just want to get them back in the water so fast. That's how I was about it. And I mean, they just feel like they weigh twice as much as they do because I couldn't get a good hold of it. And I was just looking at Anthony's picture at weigh-in, and I said, man, I know his back's killing him because mine did. And that thing's 10 more pounds. And yeah, but you can't hide the smile. And you know what? When I commented on your post, and I said, Anthony, I said that don't think of it as a fish of a lifetime. And you said, well, it is. And I said, no. I said, better things are to come. When you start catching fish of that quality and as young as you are, you got to set those goals. You got to go after that triple digit. I mean, that's going to be, now, what you need to think, that's a great fish, but that's not a fish of a lifetime because you need that motivation, to beat that personal best now. And
we're going to see triple digits.
I hope so.
That's our goal.
Our goal. Yes, y'all are very hot. Speaking of goals, I want to hear some goals that y'all have for your tournament fishing for the next year or two, or even further in the long run.
Just to stay consistent. That's the biggest part of it. I mean, you ain't going to go out and win every tournament, so I mean, it's hard to want to set a goal like that. But just to stay consistent, being in the prizes, that's my main goal.
Yep. Fishing Kansas City Cats, that's like having a national tournament trail in your hometown. I mean, there's so many great fishermen that fishes this trail, and the number of boats that enters these tournaments, they're numbers that you don't see at hardly any other national events. Maybe one or two in the country a year beats his average tournaments. So y'all have lots of competition, and y'all to be out there to shine like that, y'all are doing really well against the competition. When you got John Jameson and guys of that caliber out there fishing against you, it'll make you become a great fisherman very fast.
We did the whole tournament trail last year, and we hadn't done a whole lot of fishing for blues at the time, and I think we fished 8 of the 9 or 10 tournaments he puts on, all the ones that they do on the river, and we learned more just fishing around these guys than we'd ever learned before. I mean, because you're right, there are a lot of guys that really know what they're doing in his trail.
fishing against some of the best as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, Brad's put a great trail together, and he's just got a basic fishermen out there that are just so competitive. And it's a lot of these guys don't really get noticed because they don't venture over east anymore and get on the eastern side of the Mississippi River where a lot of these tournaments the national tournaments come to. There's a few on the west side of the Mississippi River every year that get pretty big, but Kansas City Cats, they got about all they need out there. And it'd suit them fine if a national trail didn't even come through because Brad can build some great events out there and have plenty of prizes. Speaking of them, what do y'all think about Lund Boats coming on board with Brad and seeing these caliber of sponsors come to sponsor the trail that y'all going to be growing with?
Definitely helps. Brings the money in. That Lund's doing something crazy. The $500 every tournament just to have a Lund boat. That can pay for itself quick.
Does that got y'all thinking about getting a Lund boat?
Oh, it's a possibility in the future. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the boat I have. It just needs to be a little faster, I suppose. But yeah, we need to. We're gonna have to get something different, and Lund's something we'll definitely look into.
Yeah, they're one of the best built boats from. They're a really good boat company, and anybody, if they're your sponsor or not, if they're getting into catfishing and they're helping our sport build like this, I have no reason not to give them plenty of praise about what they're doing. They're coming on board. They're giving the guys something to go out there and shoot for every week. And then these guys were seeing these other guys getting $500 extra if they do get on top of the leaderboard, and then it makes the other guys go out and wanting to look at Lunds and and being able to go for that $500 every month. I think that's really great. Lund's doing this, and when you look at Brad's sponsor banner, I mean it's just loaded, and he represents all those guys so well, and all the guys fishing that trail represents every one of them well.
Yep. Yeah.
So y'all both had personal best broke a couple of times this year. Let's hear about your y'all's personal best in the order y'all caught them in this year.
Well, we both had caught 63-pounders prior to starting fishing this year, and so we went to a White Cloud tournament this year, and it was a 15-hour long tournament. And from where we normally fish at, it's about a 2-hour boat ride on up there. So we decided we was just going to eat the 4 hours of driving since it was such a long tournament, and went up there and fished and sat in a dike behind a trail dike that we'd caught a lot of big fish in. We sat there about all night. And AJ here, he hooked into his 74-pounder, and it was. Go ahead, tell him.
It was definitely worth making the 2-hour drive one way, and it'll be a night. Honestly, that to me will be a night we'll never forget because it was such a long boat haul. 22 miles an hour for 50 miles. It's a lot to look at. Well, we got caught in the storm that night. If everybody remember right, that was fishing that tournament, we had some nasty storms, and we got caught in the middle of it. On the way back with lightning hitting, both sides of the thing, and it actually made us really nervous. So it'll just be a night that I'll never forget, even though it's not my biggest fish now. That's one of the most memorable ones.
Yeah, they're all special.
Yeah. And then was it a month later we had another tournament in White Cloud, and we did the same thing. Decided we was gonna haul 4 hours on back up to Brownville and fish there, and caught another 74-pound fish. And it wasn't quite the fight of a 74-pound fish, though. It took about 2 minutes to put him in the boat, and
from the rod going down to the fish was in the boat, it was just instantly.
But it was still fun either way. Well, what we live to do.
The fact that we caught for the last 3 years, our personal best was 63 pounds each, and that to the ounce on certified, tournament scales, 74.95, both of us. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's unreal.
So whose turn is it to catch a 98 now?
He needs to do something.
Yeah, I might have to step it up.
I hear you, son.
No matter what, though, like anybody asking me about that fish, yeah, I get a lot of, attaboys for it and whatnot. No matter what, it wouldn't have happened without him. Bottom line, you got to have a guy that knows what he's doing. When you got a fish of that caliber, it's a lot of things can go wrong. We were tied up to a brush pile that was, sticking out of the water in a 38-foot hole. There was plenty of stuff for him to get into, and you got to have a good guy beside you, whoever's got the fish hooked up. So.
Correct. It's a team effort, and it was weighed in as a team. So, one guy's just got a worse back than the other one from having to handle it.
Yeah, that's true. He had to do the hard work.
Yeah, the nerves were shot.
What's the next tournaments that y'all are really looking forward to, and you're pumped up about it, and you can't wait?
I'm really pumped up about hopefully going down to Monsters on the Ohio, and then the same tournament on the Mississippi next year. But I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to getting back and doing Brad's whole series again next year.
We got one this weekend that'll be a good time. It should be water's cooling off and whatnot. Should be some good fish caught. Kind of excited to see this one.
Cool. So y'all are really going to be into y'all going to really focus on a points race next year and all that. Y'all's trail has a point system and all.
Yeah.
So y'all going to be focusing on going out and getting every single point you can and doing what it's going to take to win it. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I think Brad has 45 to 50 boats that actually fish enough tournaments to qualify for points. And the first year we did it, we finished 10th, so I didn't feel like we did too bad for the first year. I mean, it was really the first year we'd ever fished the Missouri hard.
10th overall ain't bad, I don't think, first year.
But
oh no, that's great.
But yeah, we're looking forward to try to do a lot better next year. Getting into all the tournaments next year free would be nice.
So where y'all standing at this year in the points?
We didn't fish enough of Brad's tournaments this year to qualify for points, so I don't know. We fished his big tournament he had in Brunswick, and then we fished one of them in Call, and then we fished his Atchison tournament. We did a lot of local tournaments this year that were just kind of closer.
Cool. So did y'all participate in any points in any of those? Did y'all fish enough of those to be in a points race?
No, we fished all of the PBS Flathead Club's tournaments that they have in White Cloud, and those were the ones we got to 74. We finished second and first in those, so that was nice.
Both the 74s were caught in tournaments.
Good. So, awesome. So they don't have a point system on the PBS Flathead Club? No,
they don't. I don't know. It's a lot of guys. Everybody remembers who won the tournament before. So I mean, Casey Hayes and his partner, I can't remember what his name is. They won the first tournament, and then they turned around and won the Flathead tournament, and they was talking about bringing the broom and whatnot. And well, we broke the broom.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what it's all about. This competitiveness is just awesome, and the better it gets, the more exciting everything gets, and that's what it's all about. Get out there and it's everybody for the self on the water, and then at weigh-in, shaking everybody's hands and cutting jokes, and you can have no more fun than I've had at some of these tournaments. All right, Lyle, I'm gonna hand them over to you.
All right, guys. Brad would like to know, what did you catch that big fish on?
Skipjack.
Skipjack. Pretty good bait. The head.
Yeah, it actually wasn't very big head, to be honest with you. It was probably 2-inch head. It was a small one.
Yeah, it's a pretty small piece of bait.
A small piece of bait compared to what we usually throw.
That's good. That's cool. You guys lifelong buddies?
Yeah, I love big bait. I'm a firm believer big bait catch big fish, and I throw a lot of big bait.
small fish will eat the big bait too.
Yeah, they will. A lot of times they won't bother big stuff as bad, but the big fish will also take small bait, so you know it kind of works out.
Yeah.
Are you guys lifelong friends?
Oh, yes. 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, I assumed that the way y'all get along. It's really, really neat to see so many of the younger generations jumping into the catfishing sport. It's just really been neat to see it in the last couple of years, to see a bunch of new guys come in and you know, Chuck was saying that you always fishing against some of the best fishermen in the country, and you are. You got John Jameson and Britt Riddle and Danny McGraw, and my gosh, I can't think of all the people that fishes over that way. That's just, you know, really tough competitors. You know, and if you're competing with them guys, and it looks to me as you are, being very competitive, that you got a bright future in the sport. So that, you know, that's just awesome.
We hope so. That's for sure.
We're
We're here to stay.
Man, that's good. That's good. You know, we was talking before the show that you wasn't sure you was going to get to go to Monsters on the Ohio. If you guys can possibly make it, that's a really, really good tournament to go to. It's heads and tails the best run tournament anywhere that I've ever been to present time, and it's so much fun down there. So if you guys can make it, you'll have a blast of fishing down there.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to make it happen.
Well, and that's what you got to do, and you don't always get to make some of the tournaments. You know, anybody that's in the sport or starting out in the sport, you understand that there things come up and you can't make them all and this and that or whatever. But that is a great one to go to, and the one that's coming up next year, George is having down in Memphis. It'll be another great tournament to go to. I'm really excited about that tournament. I think it'll be an outstanding event. I actually, this is, nobody said this, I personally feel that it will be the biggest catfishing tournament of all times when it hits. I just have that feeling. It's got everybody can't wait to get there, and it's still a year away.
Right.
Yeah, I can see it's going to be pretty big if it's already got 100 boats registered for it.
We've got a room booked, so we're there.
All right, good deal. That's awesome. When you guys are out there, can you explain some of the equipment you keep in your boat as far as depth finders and stuff that you're using to locate these big fish?
We run a Humminbird 998 with the side imaging, down imaging. That's pretty plain Jane. I mean, that's all we use. But
yeah, are you drifting or anchor fishing?
We anchor fish. We haven't really got into the drift fishing yet, but that's something that we'll definitely be learning here shortly.
Well, when you learn that, that'll step your game up another notch right there.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's a whole new deal. So, my God, them boys over your way better be scared to death. They really should. If you're not drifting and all you're doing is anchor fishing, when you get that drifting figure out, them guys are going to be looking for a place to go.
Yeah, that Catfishing Dream Team video, that would be perfect for y'all to watch, and the type of fishing y'all do with them showing the back bouncing while they're drifting in current and all that. That would be exactly y'all's cup of tea.
Yeah.
We just need to get out there and just set a day to trying it. The bad thing is we get out there thinking about it and we go to doing what we know. But we just got to make our minds up and make it happen. And we will learn it. We'll know it. We'll know it soon.
Well, I can tell you, have you got a trolling motor mount on the front of your boat?
Yeah, I've got a Minn Kota Terrova.
Okay, I can tell you how you figure that out. You leave that anchor at home and you go fishing. If you don't have it, you will figure out how to drift fish the first day.
Well, there's one problem. We always leave the trolling motor at home and take the anchor.
Yeah, I know. I was like it with circle hooks. I get so aggravated with them. Finally, I just quit putting any J hooks and KO hooks in the boat and made ourselves learn to use circle hooks. And I can't say that it's any better. It isn't any worse, but I still use a straight hook to back bounce with, and there's nothing better than trying to rip the lips off of one of them when you set a hook. I mean, that's just the highlight of it.
Yeah, we're a big fan of the circle hooks. We use a lot of circle hooks.
We like to watch that rod load up and just line come out. I mean, don't even get in the hurry, just watch it.
Heck yeah. Chris Parker would like to know, locating fish or catching them, are you fishing structure or cover that holds fish?
Yeah, at times. It just depends on where we're at. I mean, there's places that we definitely are scanning for structure and places that we don't. I mean, there's the trail dike we fish up in 9 times out of 10 when we fish where we do, there ain't no structure in it. It's just somewhere I honestly can't tell you why, but we just catch big fish there. And we did mark his 74-pounder that we caught in there, and we normally won't even fish it if we ain't marking fish in there, but we do 9 times out of 10.
Well, you know, all those dikes don't hold. They may look all the same, but they all don't hold fish. And some of them will hold fish, and some of them won't. And the next time you go back, it may have swapped from one dike to the other. And some days they'll be in dikes that's got blowholes, and the next day they're in a fish around a dike with a blowhole. So a lot of that is pre-fishing and scouting and getting your game face on when you're getting ready to go to the tournament.
You just got to find them every time you go over, and it's always different.
Yep. Try different scenarios and whatnot. Here lately, we've been doing better in structured holes. Not what we were doing the best in earlier this year, but here lately we've kind of turned to it. It's been working.
Well, and those fish will change what structure they like during different periods of the year. I believe, you know, from spring to summer and summer to fall and fall to winter, and you know, they'll. I feel like most of the time they're structure oriented on something, but it'll be something different, you know, just about every time you go out.
Yeah.
We got 4 or 5 scenarios basically we try every time. You know, if we ain't doing good here, we're going to try this, and if this ain't working, we'll try something else. And usually within the 4 or 5 scenarios, we figure out where they're at or what they're doing, and then that's what we'll fish for the rest of the evening or night or however. We'll just stick to, like, say if we catch them in holes, we'll just stick to holes. If we catch them in flats, we'll bounce flats. It's just, you know, try different scenarios, figure out what the fish are doing at the time. They're somewhere.
Do you have a problem with fish when you're in an 8-hour tournament? Do you think that while you're fishing, the pattern will change during those 8 hours, and you have to go from a flat to a deep hole or to a channel edge or something?
Yeah, I think it could, but the odds of it happening during that 8 hours is a lot. I don't know, probably pretty slim. I don't know.
It's never really happened personally. We haven't had it happen where we was catching them in a flat and then had to go to a hole. We usually it's throughout the entire tournament or evening or whatever we're doing.
My feelings on that is it will stay relatively close to the same unless a front moves through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If a front moves and the fish shut down, you better be looking for something different.
Yeah.
You better be throwing it in their mouth.
There's a lot of truth to that. There really is. So the bait that you're getting, are you buying your bait? You guys catch your bait fresh?
When we're throwing shad, we catch all our own shad fresh. Yeah. We buy our skipjack from Gerald Judy is normally who we get it from. The bait shop that's sponsoring us now, named Bait Shop, is actually buying it from him, I believe, now to sell. So we've been getting it from him the last couple of weeks.
No, that's cool. Is skipjack, is bait a premium up around the Kansas City area?
Oh, if in the summer, skipjack's about the only thing you see people taking. I still always take fresh shad, but
the bait shop keeps you stocked up with quality stuff up there.
Yeah.
Whatever we need, he's got it.
Now, are you all from the Kansas City area or relatively close to that?
We're from Ravenwood, Missouri. It's a little town probably nobody's ever heard of. It's close to Maryville, where Northwest Missouri State University is.
Okay, so you're actually north of Kansas City.
100 miles,
yeah. It's a 2-hour drive to Call Point.
Yeah, I know where I've been. I'm not sure I've ever been there, but I know where it's at. It's let's see, that's up around St. Joe, isn't it?
It's north of St. Joe, 45 miles.
Yeah.
We're about 10 miles, or well, 15 miles off the Iowa border.
Well, you way up there.
Yeah, we got a long drive every time tournaments go south.
Now, do you guys ever venture out and go over to Nebraska and fish Calamus or any places like that?
Oh, we haven't. We need to start, but I don't know. It's hard for us when we're just pleasure fishing. We normally go over to Brownville and get in over there because I don't know. We just know where everything's at and know the river. But we need to start getting out and going different places and learning different stuff.
Well, I would think that Calamus is loaded with good channel cat. I would think that would be an interesting. They have a lot of tournaments over there.
Yeah.
We're going to start looking into it and start doing some more lake stuff. We really haven't got into the lake thing, but that's next on the agenda. So, I mean,
I'm not a fan of lake fishing myself. Yeah, I fish some lake tournaments. I'm not a fan of lake fishing. If it don't have current in it, there shouldn't be any catfish in it.
Right.
Right.
That's kind of the way I feel about it. Nobody agrees with me, and I don't care. I just don't like fishing lakes. There's, I want, and the stronger the current is, the more flooded water there is, the better I like it.
Yep.
Where we're at, there's not any lakes to go fish for blues. We have to drive 2.5 hours just to go fish for blues, either if we're going to go to a lake.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest Lake Lacine in Kansas City, it's about 2.5 hours for us, and then we got Milford, and it's 4 hours. So the river's an hour.
That's a great lake. They catch a lot of fish out there, a lot of quality fish.
Yeah.
We used to say we hate lake fishing too. We ain't doing it, but if we're gonna, follow these tournaments and keep going and getting better and going higher up on the scale, we're gonna have to lake fish a little bit. So we might figure it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody that's going to tournament fish has got to fish them, whether you like them or not. I just never was a still water fisherman, but the people that go to them are just as much fun there as they are on the river, and we always have just as good a time. I just prefer fishing current, and well, it's all I ever done for years, so that's a lot of the reason for that. And I can catch a fish once in a while on the lake, but it's consistently the river's more productive for me.
Yeah. Well, we can go to these lake tournaments and lose just as easy as we do at these tournaments on the river.
I understand completely. So, are you looking at any new upgrades for next year?
Yeah, we're going to start using some different rods. We're using some Hypercat rods right now. We really like. They're a lot. I don't know. They're 7 foot. I think they're 7'6" rods. They're a lot different than what we're used to using. We use a 6.5 foot tow truck rod right now, and I don't know. I love them. I've had them for 6 years. We caught a lot of big fish with them, but
these Hypercats are pretty sweet. We're going to turn to all Hypercats and probably all Pro Rocket 7000s. Try to have some new stuff by next year. All new.
Are you using braid or mono?
We're unbraided line, Power Pro.
Best there is.
Yeah, it's hard to want to go away from it.
We use 100 Power Pro.
There's only one thing I hate about Power Pro is the fact that you can't break it when you need to break it.
Now that's where your leader should be a little less.
Yeah.
All right. What kind of hooks are you guys using?
L197s.
197s, Eagle Claws. Yeah. I preach that to people. 197s and I can't think of the name on the other ones. Are the best hooks on the market. 2022. That's my favorite hook of all time. If I'm going fishing, I can guarantee you them 2022s will be in a boat. I've never had any. You never have one straighten out. You never have one break. They're heavy wire and they penetrate deep. And once you get a fish hooked, unless you just don't get the meat on him, he's coming in the boat.
Yeah, we used to use those Team Catfish hooks a lot, and I really liked them. I thought they hooked up great, but we've had 2 of them break and 1 bend, and after that, because you get 1 break or bend, you've lost a quality fish, so you might as well find something that ain't gonna break.
That's exactly right. We have a guy in chat, Scott Woody, one of our favorite guys that comes on the show every week with us, would like to know what your terminal tackle setup is and how you rig it to fish for these fish.
We run a 12-ounce weight on a sinker slide with a bumper under it, then just a swivel and about an 18-inch leader.
80-pound leaders with the L197 and 100-pound Power Pro backup line.
That's awesome. That's a great setup. Great setup. That should do good.
A lot of guys give us crap about running such a heavy leader, but in our eyes, we both agree that 100-pound braid has to break, and we know what it's going to do before anything's going to give. So yeah, we lose a little bit of tackle and stuff, that way, but we got confidence in that 100-pound braid, so we know what we're up against with it.
Exactly. I don't run that heavy a leader, and I run 80-pound braid most of the time, but and it gets to the point where you got to break something off. I don't mind losing a sinker and a hook once in a while if it means I can get my bait back in the water and get going again. I just soon break it off and go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you guys in chat, if you have any more questions for these gentlemen, get them in here. We're going to be winding things down, and if you want to know anything about catching big fish, these boys have got it figured out. Chuck, what else you got for them?
Y'all were up there real close to Iowa. I didn't know that when I was talking to y'all. Man, y'all, there's some big flatheads up that way, dudes. Y'all fished for trophy flatheads for the past, before y'all started tournament fishing. Was that one of y'all's big focuses, going out and having fun and chasing them big boys down?
When we started fishing the Missouri River, that was what we focused on, was catching flatheads, because we have always fished a lot of these smaller rivers around home, and we've done a lot of good catching big flatheads out of those. So that's kind of what we knew how to fish for, so that's what we started on the river for, on the Missouri. And we never really had a lot of luck catching anything real big. And then we got lucky and caught some pretty big blues fishing with live bait, and decided we was going to switch over to try to catch some blues, because they were just averaging bigger fish. But yeah, we've caught, just a couple weeks ago, he caught a 35-pound flathead. That's still the biggest one we've ever caught on the river. But we've caught some nice ones in these smaller rivers around home here.
What's the biggest one you've ever caught out of one of them smaller rivers around the house?
68.
Oh yeah, there's some nice ones up there, man.
Yeah,
Minnesota and Iowa, I've seen, some good fishing shows come on with fishermen, and I've read some good articles in some magazines about, some of the fishing trips that people have had up there, and actually seen them catch some big flatheads. And I mean, just using, 16-inch carp live, and just rip and drag. I mean, it's just unbelievable how big them flatheads get up there in those small creeks and rivers. And they show up in the daylight, and you can skip a rock right across of it, and you just can't believe that there's catfish that big swimming in those waters.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You wonder, makes a guy really wonder how they get through there sometimes, because them rivers get really shallow.
Right.
But
when we're fishing, we throw two blades, and we always have a rod each with flathead bait out. So we still try to target them. Just we really target the blues, with 4 rods and 2 rods with flathead bait of some kind.
Right, and you still get them blues on them live bait too, don't you?
Oh yeah. Sometimes he caught I think a 34-pound blue just the other day on some live bait in a hole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that a lot of times when they're not touching that cut bait, they kill that live bait. I just think even when they're not hungry, I think they're just so mean sometimes. They just gotta eat it just to be mean.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's larger males. The longer, skinny, beat up, mean fish is in the 30 and 40-pound range. I catch lots of those on real feisty bluegills.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just doing it to be mean.
It was 2 or 3 years ago. We actually caught a little 8-pound blue cat and took it home. It was one we took home to eat, and cut it open, and it had a flathead in it that was about 8 inches long, and his barb on his side fin was sticking out of his gut. I mean,
he grabbed a hold of the fish and it poked him. He said, "What was that?" And looked at it, and there was that side fin stuck through the gut. I mean, it's just unreal the size of bait they'll eat and what they'll eat when they're hungry.
Oh yeah, they will. They'll pulverize them, and you see pictures with them. People see them floating on top of the water with them wedged in their throat where they couldn't, feed, finish eating, and they wasn't eating them backwards. The fins wasn't caught; they were just actually too big for their mouth, and they're just absolutely pigs.
Right.
And you can just imagine the mouth on some of those 75 and 80-pound flatheads. Just the size carp.
Hey, locked up.
And that's why I fish. Is for that kind of excitement. Getting a good old big bait out there. Nothing smaller than a 40 is going to hit it because it's so big. If you don't catch nothing, oh well. But you're ready for them when you do.
Yep, that's how we fish. I
Yeah.
throw big enough bait, the small ones ain't gonna mess with it. If we go home without catching nothing, it's because we was trying to catch something bigger.
Oh yeah, it's just. Did y'all ever fish up into Iowa and get up into Minnesota, anywhere like that, and fish?
No, we fished up in Omaha last weekend, but other than that, no, we haven't ever fished anything any farther north than Brownville, really.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, y'all are really kicking some butt, and I hope y'all hang in there. And I hope to see y'all on the leaderboard, month after month. These guys you're fishing against, y'all need to walk around with your head high by doing how good you're doing now. And this confidence is going to get behind y'all, and I think it's going to excel y'all really good. So,
Thank you.
I'm going to pass y'all on off to Lyle and let him finish y'all off. And I really appreciate y'all being on the show, and y'all keep it up, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all being on the show with us tonight. You guys are kicking ass and taking names, and everybody in the catfish community is so proud of you young guys getting in there and doing so well. I can't tell you how much it means to everybody to see new faces come in the sport and immediately start making an impact on it. And I'm not sure if you was on the pre-part of the show before we went live, and I was telling Chuck, I don't know if he's on there or not, that I think a lot of this, these younger people coming on, has to do with the fact that you all was brought up in the computer age, and you can pick up these electronics where I have to go and search and play with them and mess with them for days to get them set and adjusted and find and make them do what I want to do. And it's just like a video game to you guys. You're young enough that you know exactly when you turn it on what you got to do to adjust it or find what you're looking for. And it's just awesome that you guys jump in there and do so well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure appreciate it.
We're here to stay. We're going to, like I said, we're just got to get better. It's only going to get better.
That's right. I hope to see you guys at some of the tournaments next year. I've got Monsters on the Ohio coming up next weekend, and we're really, in case I got my Monsters on the Ohio shirt on tonight, we're really excited about going down there. And if you guys get down there, be sure and come see us, and we'd sure love to visit with you. We'll be doing a live show of bass and more, so if you make it, run over by and holler at us.
We sure will.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
All right, guys. There's a couple of really good young men in the sport, Chuck. I'm sure glad that they was on the show tonight. They've done an outstanding job, and they have really, really put together a great plan on catching quality fish.
Oh yeah, I'm glad they're out in Kansas and Missouri, not over here in Alabama. Fishing
I hear
against
you.
me.
They got it going on. They really do. They've been doing an awesome job, and everything is going great for them. And they're the right kind of people for the sport, and they're good for the sport, and we like that very much. I did want to mention to everybody that don't forget, if you're not entered in the Monsters on the Ohio, you still got time to pre-register. You can register after I think it's this weekend, but you need to get a hold of Aaron Wheatley and get entered in this tournament. It's a great tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's been some guys in that area have been catching some quality fish. So come on down and fish the monsters on the Ohio. We're looking forward to getting there, and it's going to be a great time. If anybody wants to go down and be on the Catfish Weekly show with Chuck and I, we will be at Bass and Moore Tackle Shop the afternoon of Thursday before the tournament. I'm not sure what date that is. Chance to be what, the 7th, 8th. But anyhow, Thursday before the show, before the tournament, come into Bass and Moore. We will be there in the afternoon. I'm going to get there around 1 and get everything set up, 12 to 1, get everything set up. Chuck will be there sometime thereafter, and we'll start doing interviews. And what we're going to try to do, just to let everybody know, is we're going to try to do 2 or 3 and then take a break and let them post to YouTube, and then do 2 or 3 more, maybe 4, depends on how long the interviews go, and just keep running people in like that so we get as many people on there as we can, as long as we don't have any broadcast issues. That's how we're going to try to do it. And Jim and Sheila has agreed to let us stay late if we have a bunch of people that want to be on there, and we're going to have a great time. So come on in, and if you need license or bait or hooks, if you forget your sinkers or you don't have rain gear, they will have you covered at Bass and Moore. So stop on by and visit with us and make it happen.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to mention me and Lyle both are going to have ice chest, and we're going to have some live bait tanks there for bait donations. So y'all can just come by and drop off, fresh skipjack or whatever you want. And we'll be much obliged.
Yeah, I tell you what, Chuck, if somebody comes by and says, man, I found the skipjack, I can throw a net, get all you want, I'll furnish the net for you. Just come and grab them up. And Chuck and I'll split them. We're not hard to deal with.
No, I mean, that's what, last year, this Catfish Weekly thing, we tried to do way too much here, and that, when it was time to go fishing, was a little bit behind on the 8 ball, but I think we got a plan this year. We're going to be able to do our Catfish Weekly thing, and do it as well as expected, and still be able to go out and try to find some good fish and compete well on Saturday also.
Oh,
we're still taking donations for bait, though.
Yes, we are taking bait donations. You're 100% correct on that. I can't tell you how many messages and emails and PMs I've got. In fact, I'm so far behind on answering stuff. It's just I've been slammed to people wanting to know about doing the show down there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to enjoy it, and this is one of the best. It is the best tournament of the year for me. We're really excited about being able to go down there and see everybody, and unless something drastic comes up, we should be down there sometime Wednesday, and I think you're going to be down there Tuesday or Wednesday. So, like I say, even if you guys are out Wednesday and you have a bunch of extra bait, I'll have an ice chest in the boat. You can just throw them in. I'll bag them up, and put them in the ice. It won't be an issue.
Yeah, not live bluegill. I mean, that's great. I'll have a tank ready for some of those. So if you got some of those that you're gonna throw back in the lake, just bring them by, and I'll feed them until Saturday, and then I'll feed them to something Saturday.
I would like to mention again, for those of you that didn't listen to the first part of the show or might have missed it, we got confirmation tonight from George Young Jr. that October the 19th, we will be discussing the Mississippi River Monsters Tournament with George Young, and none other than Bill Dance will join him on the show. We are very excited to have these two guys on here, and George is such a hoot himself. He has worked his tail off to get this tournament going. We are extremely proud of what he's done. Can't wait for that tournament next year. And to have Bill Dance on the show. And now he told me tonight it was a for sure go. But, with a guy of Bill's stature, things could happen. I don't anticipate that it is. And they don't either. They wouldn't have told me about it. But to have Bill Dance on our show would just be outstanding. And for those of you that don't realize it, Bill Dance is in this tournament also next year. I believe he goes out boat 100, but I'm not sure who he's fishing with. But if it's James Patterson or someone like that, he'll be a contender when he gets in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it'll carry along. I don't know who George is going to fish with, if he's even going to fish. But
I don't know. I don't know if George is going to fish. I know Aaron's going to be helping him. And there's another thing that we need to bring up and mention. Aaron Wheatley and George Young Jr. are showing the catfishing community how you work together to make catfishing better for all of us. George got a hold of Aaron, and Aaron's going to actually go down the first Monsters of the Mississippi and help him run that and do that. And they're sharing information on how to make things better for all of us. And kudos to them guys. They're doing an outstanding job. And people that's never run a fishing tournament, especially one of that size, have really not got an idea how much work and time and money it takes to put on an event like these two guys do. Do you have any closing statements for tonight, Chuck?
Not really. All I can think about is, taking off next Tuesday morning on the 6th and heading to Owensboro, getting up there, looking around, doing some shows, getting to see some friends, and fishing in a little tournament on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I think it's going to be a blast. I know it will be. It always is. And we'll be seeing a bunch of people that we haven't seen since last year, and some that we've seen throughout the year. And it's always a good time down there. There's a really good motels to stay at. They've got good food. Did you get in on some of that barbecue that the Boogaloo man puts on down there?
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, you guys go to the captain's meeting. What is it? Friday night before the Monsters. You're going to be amazed at the quality of food that man puts out for us. It's going to be awesome. The whole event's just run extremely well. And if you haven't got entered or you want to get entered, contact Aaron Wheatley. You can send him a message on Facebook. You can phone call him. Any way that you can get a hold of him, he'll explain anything to you want to know. Aaron's a great guy. He cares for the sport of catfishing. He tries to make this the best tournament that there is, and to my knowledge and the ones that I've been to, he's heads and tails above everybody else at this point. Well, Chuck, unless you have something else or we get another message in here, I think that'll probably do it for tonight, and we'll see everybody next week.